Black lives ain't matter where? Black lives ain't matter here. I keep forgetting I'm tall, I was expecting the mic to be up here. Well, without further ado, I'm going to be presenting Shamari, and I know she's a little shorter, so it doesn't really with her experience as being a person of color. Oh.
Good afternoon, everyone. I've written down just a little, segment of, one day or some series out of my 19 years of life here. And I just wanted to thank everyone who's still sitting here and participating, because it honestly does mean a lot. Just everyone having the chance to listen to all the previous experiences and whatnot really does contribute to just your being and the stuff that you take on with you. So it means a lot more than you guys might think, and that's partially what I wanted to talk about a little bit today. So I'm just going to preface with how it's impossible to encapsulate each and every detail as to why this movement is important. That's why it's so crucial to listen and to not attempt to judge one another. Without a doubt, each and every one of you guys here, everyone who was here, everyone who's going to be here, has a very rich and unique experience that deserves to be listened to. Perhaps you don't have these experiences transcribed on your forehead, but these experiences that we live still, or as people, still contribute to our thought process, and your preconceived notions of others also stem from your individuality. And personally, for me, growing up in Hamilton really exemplified the importance of how the environment in which we live in shapes us and determines our actions. Sometimes, I know this is gonna sound a little silly, but sometimes I get called light-skinned, but in all honesty, I really don't think I'm light-skinned. And I grew up, and I wasn't born in Hamilton, but I grew up in Hamilton, and I only grew up around white people from all walks of life. I call Hamilton all shades of white. And I was constantly told that I was the whitest black person anyone knew, amongst many other things, but that was just the one thing that always stuck with me. And so I would always ask myself why. Was that because I'm strong and smart? I mean, by no means is my family rich, but my beautiful mother, who's also very sick right now, so I'm sending out my prayers and love to her because she's at home trying to feel better. But thank you very much, thank you. But my beautiful mother was able to provide me with so many opportunities, like dance and cheerleading and cycling and music and just all of these awesome things that a lot of these kids next door to me, a lot of these white kids next to me didn't have. And my mother was a light-skinned woman who grew up in Ottawa. She was the first black woman out of my white family. So my whole family is just a whole kind of, my mom calls us a mixed salad, so it's kind of partially why I think it's important to listen to other people's experiences as well. But when I or my mother or my sisters or brothers or cousins walk out of the house, regardless of our many shades, we are still black people, because the environment in which we grew up in played an enormous part in how we see ourselves and how others view us. However, that shouldn't devalue the experiences, both beautiful and ugly, that my family and I, and that perhaps your family and I, that your friends or that your co-workers or classmates or whatever, but that they went through, that we went through as black people, regardless of our shades. When I went to go get my license, oh, this is so annoying, but when I went to go get my license, I wasn't allowed, I frequently changed my hair, and I wasn't allowed to wear my head wrap that I was wearing at the time, because policy states that if it's not religious, then it can't be worn, which I'm not going to comment on government policies. However, I find that one thing I wanted to mention is that in Canada, I feel that it's institutionalized racism that gets played a lot of the time. So you may be fine until a certain point, until someone is able to exercise their racism or their prejudice. They go home and they talk whatever, but they go outside and they have to be okay up until a certain point, as long as it doesn't disrupt. However, I wasn't allowed to get my license, to get my picture taken with my head wrap on, and the lady attributed my headwear to gangwear, and she said, if someone walks in with a bandana on, they can consider it as being part of a gang, so unfortunately I can't let you take your picture. So, fortunately for me, it was one of the best pictures I've ever taken, and I didn't have my head wrap on or anything, so it was kind of just like, you know what, and I was quite young as well. So, I won't get into that too much, but it's just like, it's just little, but it's just, I truly believe in exemplifying others' experiences as they are all super important. Society is the whole, and we are each all the individual pieces. So there are so many things that need to be fixed. So everything needs to be fixed. From Hamilton's Children's Aid Society to healthcare. The way they even treated my mom at Juravinsky was disgusting. If I had time to write about that, I would have. But yeah, Children's Aid, healthcare, even our subconscious thoughts to attributing better concepts to lighter shades, clean being white, anything dark being dirty, the concepts of being afraid of the dark, or for example, she had the fair skin in fairy tales, or even the black sheep, even clowns, which I had learned from one of these volunteers back here, everything. So unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, there's truly a branch for everyone, because unfortunately, everything is racist or does stem from racism. Even, again, just as I mentioned earlier, taking the time to do research on our cities, I mean, horrible mental health crisis to the Mossel family, who was a black family from Virginia, who moved to Hamilton in the 1800s and who helped build the city and also helped create a lot of movements and organizations for the rights and developments of people of color in Hamilton and Niagara. But just knowing this can make a difference in adding on to your knowledge that you can take on with you. But again, I'll stop talking soon, but without a doubt, I am here just to remind you that we are all human, okay? So we all make mistakes, but we are all still loved, and the truth will always prevail. But I guess we just need a little extra help right now, so again, thank you for being here. But thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. But again, remember, it's just one out of billions of stories. So don't be afraid to politely ask someone for theirs and how their experience contributes to their thought or just anything. So please just be aware and acknowledge and listen and learn and teach and cry and laugh and dance and sing and just be kind to one another, give everyone a hug and just be happy. Thank you. Woo!